What is the future of education for the African child? How do you help your child get better at maths? What are some other ways you can help your child with motivation? Stay tuned as we discover these topics and more through our next African Tech Champion. This is Molo Molo African Tech Stories. Moseli Nkanyane, welcome to Molo Molo African Tech Stories. I am so happy to have you here, my man. I know we've had how many times? 3 tries, 4 tries at
Maybe three,
at
four.
getting
Yeah,
this
4 times.
at getting this thing sorted out so we can sit down and chat. But I'm really, really happy to see you. Really excited for this conversation and an important one, right? It's not just about your history, but also what you're doing, which is an incredible story and success story.
Thank
So
you.
let's get right into it, right?
Yeah,
How
thank you for
would you?
having me.
Yeah, no worries. How would you introduce yourself?
I always find myself being the other side, on interviews. But let's see. So Moseli Nkanyane is an entrepreneur, but before he became he's an entrepreneur first. Then he is the father to beautiful teen girls. He's the husband to my amazing wife. And of course, I will still call myself a tech entrepreneur. I have got 2 F's, One is still on Google Play and one not really launched it yet. Yeah, I claim to be SA #1 authority in trust-based selling. Self-taught, taught myself. And of course, I am the co-founder of Axiom Private Tutoring. I am the CEO of Axiom Private Tutoring. I would love to believe that I'm very aggressive when it comes to making my dreams come true. Yeah, I don't know what else.
No,
I'm from Lesotho. I am from Lesotho, by the way. But now, of course, I'm here. I'm now based here in South Africa.
nice. And why in the region of maths? Why maths out of all the different things that an entrepreneur can do, right? Why did you choose maths specifically?
I would love to believe that math actually chose me. Because I remember even before I could really identify that I'm good at math, I remember when I was young, I would take, this, what do you call the barcodes? I would take the barcodes and memorize them. And it was kind of fun, but when I look forward, I'm like, what was I doing actually? So I will memorize that long numbers and I will write them out and then check if I got them right. So I think that over time builds that math brain. And I only realized it when I was standard 6. We call it grade 6 this side now. When I was grade 6, I realized that actually I am good at math. And that's when I started being #1 in math. So from there, it has been, of course, other subjects as well. I was able to be top, but math was identified that that's my area to go. And of course, when I was in high school as well, I had learners that will need help, come home and need help with math. I would help them. When I was grade 11, I would help grade 10. When I was in grade 11, I wasn't aware. When I go to grade 12, when I get to grade 12, I found out that grade 12 will run away from me when I want to ask them the sums, because I did it a couple of times. They felt like the sums that I would ask them or the problems I would ask them, they were too difficult for them. And I was not testing them. I was actually going for help. So, and I realized that, okay, it means something is happening. It means I am the few that are maybe abnormal, because that school didn't have a teacher in math at all. I self-taught math until I was
Wow.
able to pursue math and computer science at university.
Okay. And how do you connect your clearly your aptitude for doing maths, and but yet it sounds like you could have easily taken a different route, right? You could have potentially gone into, I guess, actuarial science, or you
Yeah.
could have gone into, even becoming, I guess, a lecturer in university.
Mm.
Why children? What made it the connection that indeed I can use my skill to help children?
So that's a very interesting question. And it's a long answer. So when I get to University of Lesotho, I did computer science and with maths, and I barely made it actually, but I was number one at the school. But because the school was not producing good quality when it comes to the quality that goes to varsity, so I barely made it, and I was one of those guys that are hiding the transcript, and while the rest of the guys were just waving their transcript, because their marks were very good. But I kind of knew that I am gonna make it because I knew how I struggled to get there. So when I get there, the guys at the university who were in the same class with me, they were running to look for help from me. I end up even being a tutor in my own class, and my tutors were not offended. And the learners in my class were, they'll raise hands, then they point the tutor that they want for help. So if it's three tutors, so it was two tutors, then I become one of the tutors in my class. And there were learners in my class that want me as opposed to our tutors. Our tutors will be final year, fourth year students that are top in their class. So then I realized that this is good. Actually, this is something that I can actually pursue. But then I put more work into it. I will study math from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. every Friday. So I call so I had that math night that I'll cross night with, studying throughout. And of course, I decided, it's funny you mentioned actuarial science. When I was second year, third year, yeah. So when I was third year, in the middle of third year, I applied to UCT and BITS for actuarial science because I felt like the course was not challenging me. It was from first year to second year. So from second year to third to first year, the gap between me and the learner who was second from me was probably almost 20% average. So I felt like this is not challenging for me. And I felt like I'm running away from being a lecturer there because in math, they will take you and become a tutor. Then they take you to school in SA, and you get your master's or PhD, and then you come back and you lecture. So I
Mhm.
felt like I don't see my life being a lecturer. So I applied for actuarial science. I was taking at UCT, I was taking at BIT. And we had to find out with a friend of mine who's an actuary now. We had to check which one is better. And we finally chose BIT, and I came to BIT. And that journey did not go well for me. I felt like the lecture was discriminating me, the actuarial science lecture, because I got 50% in actuarial science, and we had a big fight with the lecturer. And I thought I actually thought he's a racist. And when I look at it now, I realize that I was going through a lot. So I was unable to see that I couldn't be able to cope. So it means I will overthink the exam when I get to exam. Even though the learners were my classmates were coming to me for help, but they would get good marks than me. And most of my classmates that I was studying with, I think two or three have qualified now, Yeah, so then I decided I'm going back to computer science because I was good at programming, and that's the reason I chose computer science. And I
Okay.
continued computer science, and I thought that I will follow software as business. But of course, by luck, I got to maths. When I was in second year, 2010, I got a call from a parent who asked me to help her daughter who was in matric, St. Stephen's. That was my first client, and of course, I took it. I gave a friend of mine maths because she asked me to come Saturday and Sunday to do math and science, and I gave a friend of mine science. But when I look at it, I'm like, and she was paying us 500 each day. When I look at it, I felt like, oh, I actually could have paid a friend of mine 300 and use the profit of 200, and I hire him instead of actually asking him to do it and be paid directly. So I could have. So then I decided that I'm going to register the company. And by the time I registered the company, of course, I had 2 clients already, and I was making around 1.5 in a weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, as a student. So it was quite a lot of money. At that time, I was very excited, and I realized
Yeah, I
that,
can
oh,
imagine.
yeah, I
You're like,
realized I can.
hey, I'm making money.
Every Monday, I was depositing the money into the bank, and I was saving for the car, which I finally bought it. We will get there.
Yes.
So of course, I registered the company with a friend of mine, and it didn't go well. It was not as easy as me getting clients and saving the clients. There was a lot of integrities that need to happen. So I realized that I need to go back and learn.
Okay.
So maybe I'll leave it there.
No, all good. Don't, no worries. I mean, we want to know more about you, and I think that's perfectly fine. If you were to think of an achievement that you are proud of, what would you say is that achievement up to this point?
Sure. Okay. I've got 2 things that are in my mind. So I will start with the one that is close to my heart, which will break it into different parts, but it's still the same thing. I think losing my parents at a young age and leaving my siblings in a young age. One was 11 years old. The one was 7 years old. The 7 years old like barely knew the parents. So losing both parents within, I think it was both parents, my sister and my grandmother, of which my grandmother and my mother passed on in consecutive days, just losing them and having to go on and take my siblings to school. Even just before I start there, when my father passed on, I was in South Africa working in a construction company, and we had sat for so long at in Tembisa without job. So that night, they asked, they told us that we actually got the site where we're gonna work, and it was a big job. And now we're happy and we're singing. The songs we're singing is the songs that when somebody passed on, we will collect the body on Friday afternoon. The whole night on Friday, those are songs that we will sing. We will not sleep. We will be with, the body, just to say we don't want anything to take the body. So we'll build the body, and those are the songs. And we sang those songs. It was just an excitement. Little did I know, I don't know, but little did I know that it was the time my father was passing on. And of course, I got a message. It actually was a phone call, and they told me that my father passed on.
Oh,
So the reason I'm proud of that is I had to switch off and go to the job. Remember, you are mourning on the other side. there's a job now. You need money to go and bury him. So I switched off and I went for a job for 3 weeks. And I was there because there no work, no pay. So you have to do to make your own money. So I had to make money, and my colleagues, my bosses, they had to contribute for me. I think I had like around 6 grand or something. That was long. It was like 2005 or something. Yeah, it was 2005. So I went home. In the last week that we buried my dad, I had to run around, do death certificate, everything. I went and I have to change the coffin because I found that they had bought him the cheapest coffin. I think it was around 500 rand that time. So I had to, those are the coffins that they were scaring us that, the body might come out while you are carrying the body,
Yeah.
So, yeah, so that's the cheapest. So I had to just go there and get him a decent coffin. It was not the most expensive, but it was decent. So just handling the whole thing, the whole situation while I'm out mourning, I think that is a situation I was very proud of. And of course, remaining and taking care of my siblings while I was at school is one of the things that I was really, really proud of. So if we come to achievements, which is the second one that I wanted to, if we come to achievement is, I think, building Axiom. Even though every time I arrive at a step, it's already, I can't celebrate that stage because I've already passed there, I delayed to get there. So, but just seeing, moving from nothing, one to see thousands and thousands of students changing, qualified doctors, engineers. Some of them, I see them doing their PhDs. It's amazing seeing parents reminding me, hey, 10 years ago, you actually helped my child. Here is where we are. And we have thousands and thousands in a year. Secondly, of course, the same thing, in the same range, the tutors that also help the learners, the funds that they are receiving from Axiom. Some of them came to me that they were able to even help out at home. And of course, that was intentional when I did it. I set it up for even people that are disadvantaged, but that know that are good at whether it's math, whether it's science, whether it's any other subjects, because we're doing all the subjects. So I set it up so that it can be conducive for them to be able to tutor instead of asking them, "Do you have a car?" Yeah.
Wow. Wow. I when you are telling me all these things, what comes to mind is that is a typical burden of an African child. An African child oftentimes does not have the luxury
Mm,
of feeling depressed
yes,
or feeling down or feeling like you need to give up
exactly.
because there's someone always younger looking at you saying, now what? What do we do? Now let's try and take a bit of a step back, right? Let's try and
Yes.
take a step back. You say you are from Lesotho. How was Lesotho growing up when you were young? How was it? How did you find it? What are some memories that you have of Lesotho?
Sure. I don't even know where to start, but let me see if I can give you just a narrow story.
Right from the start.
So I was born in Mahaling. So Mahaling it's just inside the mountains. I don't even know why it falls under Maseru district because it's inside the mountains. Um, I was born in home hospital, at home where the mothers, the neighbors are the one that helped my mother, deliver, So there was no, gynaes that help out, C-section, no, nothing. So this were mothers at home that helped my mother. And of course, the young man was born in 1984, 15 Feb. I just turned 40 now, and I was very grateful for God keeping me until.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you this time. I think that 1984, 1989 to 1987 to 1989, I went to help, that's 1989, sorry, not 87, 1989 to 1991. I was at my grandmother's place to help them. That's my grandfather's sister. They didn't have kids, so I stayed with them. I took care of them. I was a friend to the chief there. It was an amazing time. Of course, we relocated closer to Maseru, but still village, to Tababusiu. Tababusiu is just, under the mountain. That mountain is called Tababusiu, so the area is Tababusiu. The mountain where Moshe built his nation. So just below that mountain. So that's where we relocated to. I couldn't go to grade 1. I had to wait for my siblings to be in grade 1 because they took my older brother to grade 1 who was supposed to go to grade 4 or something. So I had to wait for them, and I started grade 1 in 1992. I was 8, I think I was 29. Yeah, so being there, I remember that I was getting everything wrong all the way until I think March or April. The first time I get something right, I think it was April, I ran. And home was just close to the school. I ran to just show my mother that finally I got something right. Yeah, I don't know how I felt when I was getting everything wrong, but I just remember the memory running and showing her that this is what I had. Yes, fast forward. The life in Lesotho while I was, you were at school, you would, after school, I will take the donkeys I'll change the donkeys, nah? So you will have a rope and you put the donkeys there with the rope that they can graze around the area. You tie them with the rope there. And of course, after school, I'll go and change them, give them water. And from there, I would take 320 liters and put them on a wheelbarrow, travel for 30 minutes to the village tap, where you will find a line because everybody is getting water in that tap, which sometimes to avoid it, you will actually go to the river. I can't believe that that's what we're doing, and take that water in the river there. It looks like it's clean, and we put it in the donkeys, we just tie them and have the 20 liters and go home, avoiding that. But I will take a wheelbarrow and go to that tap, and you'll be in a line. When it's your turn, you press no. You are Jimmy. You will be exhausted by the time that 60 liters is full. Everybody is waiting for you.
Yeah.
And of course, we'll load it, and I will take. I'll go back home. It will take me 45 minutes. When I arrive home, it's time now to prepare firewood for boiling water in the morning. While somebody else has already prepared the firewood for tonight's meal. So you have to prepare with firewood. We are cooking with this, black pots, 3 foot something. Yeah, those ones. Those are the pots that we're using, and it was 9 of us at home, So you can
They call
imagine.
it in South Africa. They call it poikikos. Poiki.
Yes. Yes, that's the one. So that's the ones that we're using, and you haven't studied, you haven't done homework. So you can just imagine, probably at that time is 9, 10. You are exhausted. Now you're still gonna study. I have to mark the cantle so that it doesn't go beyond because I'm gonna be in trouble for the cantle be beyond. I look at kids now, I'm like, parents are fighting them to study, right? For me, parents wanted marks, but they will fight me to finish a cantle to study, to say, how did you waste the cantle? So I will mark it. Once it passes the mark, I can stop, and I will wait for morning when it's light a bit, and I can continue. Or
Yeah,
if there is a moonlight,
Moseli,
mm,
sorry, I need to make sure that our listeners understand the context of what you are just saying. This is
yeah,
incredibly important. So so let me correct me if I'm wrong, but basically what you are saying is that
yeah,
during that time, children were under pressure to do their homework by not finishing the candle that was used for lighting. Right? Am
exactly.
I correct?
You're
So
correct.
it wasn't a case of you had your own candle for studying and then this one had his own
No,
candle. No. There was a candle for the house that it was allocated to you to study, but you better finish very quickly so that this candle
exactly,
doesn't run out. Am I correct?
exactly. It sounds like it doesn't make sense, but I didn't see it as unfair.
Mhm.
I didn't see it as unfair. I had to find a way, you know, how to maximize, but they needed the marks at the end of the day.
Yeah,
So, and you only finish everything, the chores by 9 p.m. and eat
yeah,
around that time. But now you still need to study. You still need to prepare for a test tomorrow, but you must make sure you don't finish the candle. But if there's moonlight, I'll open the door. I'll take a chair. No table, Baba. No table. I'll put, then I'll start lighting, start studying.
yeah.
That was basically. Come morning,
Amazing.
yeah, those are things that really prepared some of us. We didn't know to be able to be resilient to to this level.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you get there in the morning. In the morning, if it's your turn, you wake up very early and you prepare the fire. If you compare to somebody here now, to our kids now, all they will do, they will switch. They don't even switch off you on the geyser, they will go into the shower and they shower. But us, you still going to find a way to prepare fire. You put, you try to make sure that you light and you get like some smaller, what do you call the sticks and to light the bigger one and fire it up and you put water there, a big pot of water for everybody. And even though we're still gonna warm our food right there, no microwave, right there, no electricity, nothing.
Yeah.
And we will take turns now. Of course, use the basco to shower, yeah, to shower. Uh,
Can you explain what a bus cop is?
so, a bascom is like just like a bowl, man. But this is used, for washing hands. We will use that for actually bathing. So you will have just a little some water there, and you will kneel down, put a cloth down, and you wash your face and your half body. Then you will come into the bascom now and wash the rest of your foot, your feet, and the rest of your body.
Yeah.
That's for us was bad thing. And off you go to school, you prepare for test or exam, or sometimes you don't even have shoes. It's winter. You go with no shoes, and you're fine with that. So for me,
Yeah.
those are memories that I remember. And how about this one? When I was in high school, I lost pen. They used to steal my pen, and parents stopped um, buying pens for me. And now there was a trouble because I need to pass as well. And now I don't have a pen. I started stealing pens, but it was naughty. It felt like it was just naughtiness by that time because I would play with you and you have your pen here by your shirt. It was a style by that time, and I take it off. If you catch me, I give it back to you. It was like, we're playing, but if I get it, you will go and ask your parents to buy you a pen because mine couldn't buy me a pen. So I will be using that pen, and the pens look alike. So there was no way to identify, and you might even be a different grade. But it got out of hand when they stopped the break. During break we will buy food. Okay. So they used to give me 2 rand. Now they stopped that 2 rand as well. I think they realized this is expensive, let's just stop this. They stopped that 2 rand as well. And now break, there was nothing now. I will run around and try to steal the school's pitches, so I can at least have something during break time. Of course, they
Yeah.
provided lunch at around 2, because school in Lesotho, you are there 7:30, you leave at 4 o'clock, not 2.
Wow.
If there's sports, we're gonna leave 5, 6. So I had to figure out how do I get money now for break. Now I can't steal money. I felt like now this is stealing. That's what I consider as stealing now. I'm like, there's no way I can steal money. I can steal peaches. I can steal pens. I felt like that was just naughtiness. I could
That's
identify the two
that's
as
there's
like,
a bar. There's a bar, you can't go
yeah,
over.
exactly. One was just naughtiness,
Yeah.
we're proud of it. The other one, I felt like, no way, I can't steal money. I need to find a way how to make money. And of course, events was heartbreaking. If there's an event at your own school, it's 5 rand and you can't go in. You are one of those guys that are checking by the windows, are waiting for, they
Yeah.
call it Bakutana time. That there's a poor people hour.
Oh, wow.
So I felt like I can't be a poor people. I can't be in pure people hour every time. So
Every time.
yeah, I decided, look, let me just. I came up with selling oranges.
Okay. How old were
So
you?
things. I was grade. I think I was grade 11, grade 10. Yeah, grade 9, grade 10. So grade 9, grade 10, I would be what, 15, 16? Yeah, or 17, around 17, because I went to school while I was already old.
Mhm.
So I decided, now look, I'm gonna sell oranges. So I will give, where I am born is close by, where we stayed was close to the taxi stop, where taxi is 10, the big
Right.
stop. So I will ask the guys that in the taxis, that drive the taxis, or the guys that, close the taxi door, we call them a contact, that close the
Yeah.
taxi door. I'll ask them to buy me 2, 3 bags of oranges, you know, in town, because it was not too far. They will come with them. They will not give me problems. Sometimes I'll ask random guys that go to town to say, listen, man, here's money. Bring me four bags of oranges. I think it was 13 there. I was making, I think, 100% profit on that, on each orange. And I will put oranges, I will hang them at home. So people that are at home, they will sell for those guys. Then I will move around and get to play house to house. And I'll go with them, I'll sit with them there, they keep buying, they keep buying, they keep buying. When I feel like I exhausted their money, I'll make them laugh. When I feel like I exhausted their money, I move on to the next family.
When you feel like you've exhausted their money, that's is the
Exactly. You say, hey, my friend, we can have another one. What's the problem? My friend, I don't have. And I know that is my turn to leave, you know?
Oh, wow.
And I will make profit and I will keep buying. And of course, I was able to buy myself. I stopped stealing pens. I was able to buy myself pens. I was able to go to events. My parents were not paying for any event. Nothing. They will hear that I am going somewhere. Even just a trip, they will hear that I'm off for a trip. But how did you get money? I figured out. I moved to seats as well. So I was able to. And of course, you have to balance that with studying.
Yeah.
You have to do that on weekends. And you have to look after cattle on Saturday. The whole Saturday. While you are looking after cattle, you have to wash your uniform and your clothes, of course, and hang them there while you're looking after cattle. And you will have to study and do homework while you're looking after cattle. That's a whole
Mhm.
day looking after cattle there in the mountain, you know. Then you will have to actually go and get vegetables, like the ones that are, wild vegetables, for food, for eating. So it means now you will take it home and they will prepare it and they will cook it.
Yeah.
So can you see how many things you are doing while you are looking after cattle the whole day?
Yeah.
Your uniform, you know, is making sure that the shower is there, making sure that your uniform is washed, is clean, and that Saturday and Sunday you're looking after the cattle. And I had to fight when I get to Great Cloud to stop looking after the cattle. And that was that was the life memories I could remember when I was in Lesotho. And of course, during the December holiday, there will be tournament.
Yeah.
Now you must make sure that you take cattle at night to go and graze where they are not supposed to, when everybody's sleeping. And you make sure that you are back in time, that nobody catches you. And now they can be there and rest a little bit. And then maybe around 10, take them to drink water and they can graze better. Then you can come home earlier to actually go to bath and go and watch soccer.
I see.
That's the sacrifice you had to do. And even just getting ready, you have to leave. There will be this bascom, that bowel. That
Hmm.
is, you will put it by the front and you put water there and hoping chickens don't get into it with their dirty feet, right? And you're warming that water. If they do
Yes.
it, that dirty thing will be just down there. You have to be careful as you are bathing.
The chicken poop.
No. Remember they're working everywhere. Then they will
Yes.
get into water. They are trying to drink the water, but they will get into
Ah,
that
okay.
water, and the
Yeah.
dust and whatever is just it's like
Yes.
mud now down there.
Ah,
You're gonna have
okay.
to find a way that you bath properly, that mud doesn't come up.
Yes,
And of
sure.
course, you can't put your feet in there. You still have to wash while you are
Mhm.
just outside the bascom.
Yeah.
So that is one of the things that I look at backward. I'm like, whoa, how did we survive that? But
Yeah. But you
here we
did.
are. I did.
Now, if I were to kind of transition a little bit, right? So,
Yeah.
wow, it's thank you so much for just giving me and the people are listening just what a picture of what it meant to grow up in Lesotho and typical, right? Typical farm life in
Yeah.
a lot of countries in Africa as a child in the 1980s, right?
Mm,
And what it meant to fight to survive, but also to fight to get out of those conditions, right?
mm,
To be sure that you are able to have a future and the dreams that you are able to see on TV, that it becomes your dream
mm.
eventually, right? Or you listen to the radio.
Sure.
Now, here's this young man, this young man who has, in a way, been exposed to such a dynamic life, right? The pros and cons, right? So everything has
Mm,
pros, everything has cons. And here you are, you've managed to achieve, you managed to, like you said, you were top of your class.
mm.
You really were a smart student, even though, at times you can see a little nyana naughtiness, nyana. But
Yeah.
fundamentally, you understood what it meant to work hard, right?
Yes.
Fundamentally, you understood what it
Yes.
meant to want to achieve something, and also you also learned what it means to just use whatever resource you have to achieve the goals that you have for yourself. Now, given all this, and you've already given a little bit snippets into your father passing away in
Mm,
2005 and you having to carry on, and having to just keep going. What was it like when your mother passed away?
Oh, I remember that as if it was yesterday. Look, I don't get emotional about my father than my mother. Why? Because I think our fathers teach us to be tough, guide us, advise us, and I feel like life did that and taught me to be tough in his absence. But my mother, I feel like I needed that soft part of it. um, and I was not ready for losing my mother in 2004. So when my mother was sick, I was the guy. I mean, it's seven. She had seven kids. I was the middle one. So I was number four, three older than me, three younger than me. So when my mother was sick, I was that child that wouldn't sleep in the bed with my mother. So if she needs to go to the toilet, which is outside, because she can fall as well, and we wouldn't know, I would be the guy that takes her to the toilet and open the toilet, and she's sitting, and I hold it for her and wait for her to finish. So that day, the night that she passed on, I was going to be sleeping. I was going to sleep with her. Luckily, and luckily, her sister, my aunt, her younger sister, was there. So of course, she was the one that slept with my mother. I remember that night, I was fighting with the blankets. I'm fighting with the blankets. I don't know what's happening. When I wake up, the first thing I went was to go and see my mother. I wake up to go and see my mother. When I get out of the house, it's three houses. The one with the thatch on the top. There's the one for the boys, and then of course there's a bigger one for the parents and the smaller children. When I wake up, I went straight where they were sleeping. Behold, when I get to the door, there were so many people at the door already, like people from the village. When I tried to go to say, hey, listen, I want to see my mother, they start like, no, 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 don't come in here. I'm like, I knew that something is wrong, and I didn't know what to do. And they asked the neighbor to actually bring the van. You could count people that have got cars. When you have an older van, they call you rich. So they say, ask the neighbor, and which I love that family. Even now, we're very close. Even the children, they're very close, still in touch. I went there. Then I returned on my way to say, why do you want a van? I was confused. They had to break the news because now I was like, I'm out of hand now. Like, why do you want? Can I see my mother? They break the news that your mother is no more. I walked there, but I couldn't believe it. I was hands-on. I walked there. I got the van. Tell him that he's no more. I could see his face as well. After that, I had to take taxis to actually go in the mountains again, because we are from the mountains that side, and you can't go there and come back. You have to go and sleep over to go and give them the news. When I get to my grandmother, that's my mom's mother, my grandmother was sick. The older relative, my uncle, they were there. I just break the news in there. My grandmother was still listening as well. It was a sad night. I slept over. The same thing started happening at night. Fighting with the blankets. When I woke up, I went in there. Same thing. People are already there out there. My grandmother is no more.
Oh yeah.
What a sad story, leadership. What a sad story. These two women were my killers.
I'm sorry.
This is consecutive days. So it's one I get there at night, morning, the other one is gone. Now here I am, a young man.
How old were you there?
That's 2004. So I'm just 20.
You're 20, yeah.
Yeah, but staying in the villages, you don't get clever around those ages. You're still young, very young. Around that, you're not exposed to too many things. What a sad story. First time death hits me that close, and it just took the women that were really supportive to me. I couldn't I couldn't accept that it's reality is happening. I went back home. I was broken. I was already broken when I went to the mountains. Now this is double now. I went back home to give them. Now I'm sent now.
Hmm.
I'm now a messenger again now in my grandmother's house to actually give the news to my mother, to my family, that my grandmother as well is no more. So it was painful.
How
My
was that?
mother,
Do you remember that walk back from your grandmother's place back to your place?
it was terrible. I didn't want to speak to people. It was terrible. When you feel like all you want is to sleep. Yeah, it was terrible, leader. I'm in a taxi, and I know when you get by the taxi stop, you find the guys they used to you joking and whatever. They don't have an idea that some don't have an idea that my mother just passed on yesterday. Some knows it, and they are trying to speak to me. They don't know that I'm carrying something else. It was a disaster. So of course I went back. Um, yeah, all I needed is just to prepare for the funeral. That's all I wanted to do.
I'm really, yeah, it is not easy to go back to those memories. And thank you, Moseli, for being vulnerable enough to share. Yeah, it's to think of, I mean, I cannot relate at all of what you're saying. I'm sure a lot of people who are listening and watching this cannot relate at all. Never mind
Yeah,
losing your and obviously from an African perspective, a lot of people don't understand. But from an African perspective, the mother is everything.
yeah,
She's absolutely, without question, the center of everything. And on top of
exactly.
that, if she's not the one, the grandmother is
Yes,
the one
yes,
who is
yeah,
taking that role even more so.
yeah,
And to hear that two of the people that carried you emotionally passed on 24 hours, if not even 24 hours between each
less
other,
than probably.
is really I don't have any words. Now let's
Yeah, that
let's just
one.
try. Let's just try and put a picture a little bit of what happened over the next few years, because if I understand correctly, over the next few years from there, you took charge of your siblings, right? You
Yeah,
basically were the one who now was in a way the leader of the family, even though you had older siblings. Is that how did that
yeah.
work?
Um, I was always driven, leader. I was always driven. So when I lost after I lost my mother, my dad also. My dad was working in the mines, and he will come once a month or every other month. I think it changed and become every other month. So the other month he will send money, you know. The other month he will be there. He will be at home. So it means we stayed with my mother the whole time. And My dad, at that time, he didn't have I think he was just in construction. He had contract at that time. So he was no longer in the mines, it was still the mines, but it was, I don't know how it was classified. It was earning lesser now. It was no longer, your permanent maybe position kind of. And of course it finished and he was sick as well. Um, he was very sick, so I actually had to go back. So I was working in the construction. So I have to go to the construction and build here in South Africa. Build with stones. We'll cover the houses with stones. We build a lot of golf club houses, states. We covered it with stones. Yeah, so that's why I ended being in construction.
Just
And
by the way,
I would,
this is now before you are going to university, right? If I'm not mistaken.
yes, I took the gap year.
Yeah, carry on.
And yeah, I took 2 years gap year. So I am now working in construction. People I'm with, people from home, but that didn't go to school at all. I was the guy who translate English and whatever for them. Um, Now I was sending money home now for my dad to go to hospital. I end up having to ask at the shop for him to take an account, and he will take anything that he wants, and I will come and pay. They will just
Yeah.
count for me. I'll come and pay that, and I send him money. I make sure I take care of him. But what broke my heart at around that time was when I got home, I found that my father hasn't bathed for, I think, over a week or something, or 2 weeks, something like that. My siblings were there, and they were saying, no, he fights him. He fights them. I was very, very upset. And that was my first time watching my dad.
Yeah.
You can just imagine. Now I'm bathing my dad. My first time now, it's like seeing my dad naked and bathing him myself. I had to choose between remaining, taking care of him, and going back and make the money and make sure that he's taken care of. Food, the siblings as well. They are going to schools. They need shoes. They need all of that. I still have a dream to go to university. That's what unfolded.
If I were to ask a specific question around this time, now, you obviously finished your matric with really good marks, right? You
At school, yes. At that school, yes.
at that
Overall,
school, of course. But what I mean is that your matric marks enabled you to go to university. Am I correct?
yes, yes.
But yet at the time, you had to deal with reality. You had to deal with, what do I do with the situation that's in front of me? What do I do with with people who are looking at me and saying,
Mm,
now what?
mm.
And you made the choice of not just thinking about yourself first,
Yeah.
but thinking about what is the best way forward together as a family. How did you feel at the time? Did you feel like you were missing out? Did you feel like were you angry at that your situation was the way it was?
School was not even in my cards. My cards is how do I be in both places. Of course, I had already grown into a reality that I'm facing. There's nobody that's gonna provide for the family, and I had the dream still to go back to school, and I was putting plans together to save up money. Yes, I could see. I saw life as the reality that it is. I think later on, I had the code. It's one of my principles that says
Yeah.
this world is not your mother's land. Blaming won't help you.
Wow.
They, if only. would not help you. You gotta have to do what you need to do to make sure the family survive. And of course, I felt like I will catch up with the university afterwards. I was determined that I'm gonna go to university. I was determined that I'm gonna change. I believe that I'm gonna change our family life, but I knew that this world is not my mother's land. I can
Yeah,
complain, but there was
yeah,
nothing. Yeah, I didn't have a rich uncle
yeah.
that
You
can take
know,
care of us. Mm.
it's such an amazing statement because you oftentimes one things of Africa as the motherland, the land where I go back, but yet you
Mm.
forget that the motherland is a very harsh,
Uh,
harsh land. It's everybody has their problems. Everybody has really tough problems, right? It's not even that,
mm.
people just have, oh no, I don't know, medical issues regarding my,
Yeah,
people have problems of death. People have problem of shelter. People have problems of just food.
food.
There isn't a government that hands out parcels, you know, and says all the
Not at all.
children, if you need, if you got a child, here's more. Um, Now, if I were to, take a few step forward, right, and
Yeah.
try and kind of figure out. So you have spoken in your background story how you've eventually went to university. Like you mentioned, you obviously had
Mm.
an issue with actuarial science, but you fundamentally saw in computer science that you could excel. You could excel
Mm.
in helping other people. You could excel
Exactly.
in becoming someone who they can go to for help, who they can go to improve their
Mm.
their maths or their science in general. Now, in terms of that, how did you manage to figure out that if I do this versus me going for a traditional career, it is I can see myself in this future. How did that happen for you?
You mean the entrepreneur journey?
Well,
Or
at least in terms of the decision, right? Because of course you're a student at the time, right? You
yeah.
are you I- is it was it a matter of you graduated and then you decide, okay, after graduation I'll carry on, or how did that decision to say instead of looking for a job I will now take this on full time?
Okay. Okay. Um, it was quite a very difficult decision in terms of whether to go for corporate life and have a job, 9 to 5 or whatever they call it, um, or be in business. It was quite hard because I had already calculated steps that I gotta have to provide for my siblings. I gotta have to make sure they have better life. I gotta have to make sure that after I take care of them, I am able to build my own family, and I'm gonna have my own kids. And how long this entrepreneur is gonna take me to actually take off. So it was a debate whether to go in or not, but I think it went clearer. I went to job interviews and I think I got 2 offers, and it was clear after that. Because I needed the reason. I needed a reason, I needed a reason. I was praying about it to say, which one is better? Do I go make it happen, right? Or do I take a job? So there were few things that changed around. There was one of the family I helped their kids. For me, when it comes to helping the kids, I'm all in, committed. If I have to show up at your house at 3 a.m., 4 a.m., I do that, which I did. So there was this family um, that decided they hand over a BMW car to me. Love them. And they probably will watch this clip. The Jacobs family, they are very close to my heart. Always talk to them about them anytime, anytime. We're still close even now, still in check with them. They decided to hand me a car. Their daughter,
Wow.
yeah, sure. I helped their son and their daughter. Their son was grade 12 by then. The daughter was grade 9. And of course, I was left to continue with the daughter. The daughter was getting 100% distinction, when she was grade 11. They decided to hand over that BMW car to me. And I remember back then when I used to walk all the way from, it was a long distance. It was far apart to their place. And sometimes I would be embarrassed to walk on the road straight. I'll go inside, which is a long route. And sometimes I'll get lucky and I find him, the father will help me to my place, and he will be driving that BMW and he playing music and he's pressing the buttons, man, and it's moving this car. I'm like, when will I get here?
When will I beat this guy?
What I could remember is pressing the volume by the button here.
I
Little did I
remember.
know that I will
Yeah.
get the keys to that same car.
Wow.
And of course, what turnaround? I was graduating by that time. I failed a couple of times because of not able to attend at school. Yeah, that's a long story as well. It's hectic. We can take the whole day here. It was hard. Sleeping at bed in the car and so on. I remember now asking myself, what do I do now? There is a job I can go to in Lesotho. Then I realized, no way, I'm not going to go to Lesotho. I am committed to come back and make sure that this girl made it to matric. So I decided Lesotho is out. So at least now I have little option. Now he made it difficult as well. He said, look, I'm opening office for music for my children. So do you want to join them and have an office there? Wow. For your tutoring and growing. I took the chance and I decided I'm in for it. I've already declined some job offers as well, 2 job offers, because they were giving me amount the same as an amount I was making when I was finishing my grade 12 during exams, helping the kids for exam. And that was the salary they were giving me. And I thought actually the salary is high when you graduate. They said, no, it's a graduate program, and I'm like,
No. Don't worry.
yeah, and it's like, oh, if you experience, we just add this much, just add 3,000 if you experience. This is for the experience one. And I'm like, I'm not young, buddy. I had to decline it on the spot. I said, I will not take it.
Wow.
One of them is KPMG. Anyway, I knew straight that I'm going to business. And I knew I'm building this business. The dream is to use the university students, especially that went through the hard times like me, that knew that they can actually make money with their intelligence, having the ability to actually explain to others. So I felt like Axiom would be an equalizer. When you are there by metrics, then you can buy pie as well,
Wow. Yeah.
because we felt like, man, we are buying. I don't even remember, those the 5 rand. What do you call this? Man, this buns that you used to buy very cheap, and these
Chelsea
guys,
buns.
yeah, just buns. And you find that these guys from good family, and of course the other guys with a different color, they are getting there, buying juice, buying drink. They get there,
Yeah.
they get even plus, they are eating pie or like when you take like, can't afford that, man.
You
And I'm like,
can't.
yeah, I'm like, I can make this an equalizer. Because
Yeah.
even the tutoring companies, they wanted you to have a car before they actually take you.
Hire you.
Yeah, they will hire you only if you have got a car. So think about a guy like me who's coming from the background where
Yeah.
we own nothing. All we have is cows. There was nothing. There was no and chicken.
Where do I trade cow for car?
Well, no way. I don't even know how to drive.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to start. Anyway, so I decided, you know what? I'm gonna make a change. As much as
Wow.
I'm enjoying the change I'm making into the children, how do I translate that and make the change as well in the learners that are going through the same thing?
Yeah.
How do I instill confidence in them? Because you lose confidence as well. Hunger do that to you.
Yeah.
It's like it's
But
eat your brain.
can I ask something regarding confidence? How does you've had so many children, you've helped so many children, African children, uh not only excel, but like you said, regain the confidence or actually attain more confidence in doing more things.
Yeah.
How would you describe kind of the process, if you were to have a process to help a child with motivation to want to really study? How would you go about doing that if you were to, in order to give us your secrets, but how would you,
Yeah.
how are some of the steps according to you?
Okay. Um. So most most of us, or most of the children that we interact with, in fact, we have got different groups. So they lose confidence for different reasons. Others have got like intelligent parents, and they get pressure. There's a whole lot of things that goes into that. So how you get back that confidence, you need to know at what level that confidence was lost, and how was that confidence was lost. Then you can regain your confidence based on exactly what caused lost the confidence. But all of it is eventually the learner, one doesn't fall behind and doesn't want to learn more, and they don't want to put more effort because they don't know this, and they lost it. They lost the confidence in it. Now, first, if it's a child that didn't have lacked a better teacher, let's say, or did not understand the teacher, I think the first is to make the concept easy. And as you make the concept easier, you also respect them. Talk to them like they are somebody, and because they are somebody, don't talk down against them, and celebrate when they are enjoying, or when they are able to hit that goal. Celebrate with them. And once you celebrate with them, you will see a little smile. Guess what? What happened? They actually want to be part of this. They actually want to do it again and again. Why? They can see it's nice. They can see you respect it. Remember, they respect you by making the concept easier. And of course, apart from that, motivation is there. But I always say to people, motivation is energy drink. Monster. Play. It comes, you take you up and down again. So you give them a reason to push. But every child is different. The reason is different. Communicating pain to them is different. Like if you don't do this, what is potential pain that you can have? In a very nice way. And of course, once the learner pick up the potential pain, and that they have potential to change things around, they are gone. They don't
Wow.
respond the same way, but others respond very quickly. Others take a little bit of a time.
Wow, that is a lot, my man, that we can break down. But I'm
It
so
is.
grateful. I'm so grateful that you've given me and those who are listening just a snippet of what it means, because I think everybody, if you're a parent, if you are yourself, right? If you're at school, those who will be watching this who are still at university or in high school, confidence is such a big thing. It is, but yet, like you said, right? Confidence is not always lost in the same way for every child. And every
Exactly.
child can regain the confidence in different ways. And what you've basically, if I can summarize, you are basically saying you need to get to know that child. You need to get to know,
Exactly.
spend the time with that child, speak to that child like he or she matters, right? And only
Exactly.
through that can you really push through. No, thanks, Moseli. I have another kind of, I want to pick your brain on kind of the
Okay.
concept of maths, right? Maths is
Yeah.
it can be such a frustrating concept at all the levels that you have to learn it, right? I mean, from my son from Samson's age all the way to an
Yeah.
18 and beyond, right? A graduate level where you get to
Yeah.
learn all sorts of maths, calculus, algebra, and so forth. What are some of the skills that one needs to have in order to help someone get better at maths? What are some of the things that one needs to fundamentally have? If you don't have these things, you really cannot help someone get better at maths. What would you say?
I think one of the things that's very, very important, or the major ingredients in you helping the learner, would be patience. Because once you grab the math, it can be so frustrating when you see the person lacking the concept and taking long to actually get the concept. You gotta have to be patient, and if they don't get it, you gotta have to understand it's you, it's not them. You gotta repeat it again. If they don't get it, you're gonna have to understand it's you, it's not them. Because every child, every way you can build them from beginning to the end. If they lost the concept, you can go back. It's a matter of time and build them. So patience would be important in that. And of course, point it yourself to say, it means I'm not able to explain it properly. If this is a learner that can excel in soccer, because those are things I try to find out, video games,
Yeah.
no, they can be able to solve, they will be able to solve X plus, X plus X. Because the concept of playing a video game is way harder than trying to add integers, if you think about it.
Yeah.
So it's not a matter of that learner have no capability to do it. The brain just switch off, and you're gonna have to make it easy for them. So patience and point yourself and try to break this for the learner. And it shouldn't be about you, how you solve it. We know you know it. It is about the learner. Yeah, you're good at passing your test. That's fine. But then this is a different game. We didn't ask you to present. We asked you to teach somebody to pass it. But of course, the hardest is there is the point where now the learner have to take it forward, which doesn't happen at home, and so on and so forth. That is the hardest because of how most of the kids' background, how they are raised, and so on.
Yeah.
So that's the hardest. Yeah, because once you hold them accountable, it becomes an easy. So if they
Wow.
can let you do it, no problem.
Yeah, that's really powerful. I think if there's one thing I get from what you say is that there's a certain level of selflessness that you need to have when it comes to teaching a child anything, especially maths, right? That
Mm.
that these abstract things that are on paper and the graphs and the x squared and the square roots, all of that, you've got to let your own ego go out the door so that you can see the child for what it is.
Mm.
Yeah, that's really amazing to hear that. Now, you have I mean, how many learners? I mean, if you were to think of the last few years that you've been building Axiom and all the amazing things you've done with it, you are essentially in the education tech space, right? The education technology space, where
Yeah,
you've adopted digital platforms, you've adopted online
exactly.
learning, you've adopted, remote help and support, and you've adopted websites and apps, and which is an
Exactly.
amazing, and I suggest everyone who's watching this and hearing from this, we will have a lot of links all over just for you to see where what Axiom is doing
Mm.
and how you can get in touch with them. But I've got a very interesting question, or at least a very particular question regarding education
Yeah,
in general.
yeah.
You've obviously predominantly been in South Africa, right, and Lesotho. But if you were to look at the education today in South Africa, what and how your service is trying to address certain problems, what are some of the key issues that you see that needs to be resolved in the education space that you are that you are helping resolve? What are some of the key issues that you see?
There is something that is very important, that is very close to my heart. Um, I always say when you put a doctor here and a teacher here and you greet them, who do you respect more?
Obviously, the
Oh,
doctor,
who
I
do you,
guess.
it's a doctor. Most people, it will be a doctor. When you go and study medicine, you have to hit distinctions. And it's a competition to get there. They get paid a lot, well, more than a teacher, at least. Now, what happened in the teacher? You get 57%, 70% in maths, or 58% in maths. You can get into education and study to teach maths. I'm not saying all teachers are, went through that. And of course, it's not the same as doing maths major in BSc maths major.
Yeah.
It means the training as well is not as hard to prepare somebody to be able to take people to the next level. Now, when that happens, we end up having more people not going to teach him because they could not get into other courses. We end up losing people that would love to be in teaching but cannot handle less money. And of course, everybody, people want to be respected. Most people want to be respected.
Yeah.
So, yeah, people don't want to go into something, a career that they feel like it's not respected. And of course, salary is also not great. And that's what you receive in overall as well. That's on the teacher side. Then come to the parent side. There's a lot of contributors that are there. So, internet have brought so many distractions to kids, to the point that kids are not able to pass even maths. And there are alternatives now. There's math lead, and of course, government has introduced that. I'm sure they looked at different areas, but I feel like it had become an escape as well. Um, Sometimes for school to achieve 100%, they push the kids as well straight to that math lead. So there's a whole lot of dynamics when it comes to education. So you cannot change it empty-handed. So we are trying to address this. We are trying to build something that a teacher or a tutor must be respected. And what we're trying to do, we're trying to get, motivated, driven individuals to come and be tutors and earn the same amount of salary as their peers who is working at ESCOM as an engineer. So we're trying to
Wow.
push it to that level. We want to go, in the future and start building schools, but we want to make an impact of the tutoring first. Start making, opening our own schools, that's Axiom schools, where we can frame it the way we want to, and we'll be able to say, government, here is what it means to push the education in our country to the next level. At least if you put something, because if you just give reasons, it's not so easy to be able to be listened. But if you put something out there and you have tested it, you have teachers that are motivated. You have a maths teacher that went for BSc and was able to excel, and they love education, and they could have went to engineering, they could have went to any other courses, but they love education. You have given them enough salary for that, and they are enjoying their passion, and they are not knocking up at 2 o'clock or 2:30. School is knocking up at 4 p.m.
Yeah. Yeah.
At least for high school. There's a lot that we can talk about.
I can imagine. I can imagine. And I think it's a very important conversation to have, which I'm hoping we can get into more details in maybe another episode, because I do think it really needs a separate discussion, just the state of education, but also what are some of the things that technology that we can do and that you are doing, right? And I would like to get deeper into it. I know this podcast was really just to inspire people about your story, just
Yeah.
how amazing it has been. Now, if I were to ask a final question,
Yeah.
which I'm trying to connect all the dots, thinking about the hardships you went through.
Yeah.
You are now a husband. I was at your wedding. We danced.
Yeah.
You are
Yeah.
now an amazing father of two twin girls. But unfortunately, your mom is not here.
Yeah.
Your dad is not here. Um, your grandmother is not here.
And my
What
sister.
and your sister is not here. What motivates you to look at other people's children, to look at other people's problems and say, this is my problem. This is my problem. Even though I have problems of my own, I am an orphan. I've
Yeah.
got so many things that I wish I could tell my parents. What motivates you to say, you know what, I want to take care of the African child. I want to see a better future for the African child. What would you say motivates you fundamentally to wake up and do all these extraordinary things you're doing?
Yeah. I think it hits home because I really don't know where. The drive that hit me, nobody was able to light it. The challenges were able to light the drive. But when I look at my peers, my classmates, the guys that I grew up with, um, some of them I can see that they have capability to compete with me to the highest level, or even to try to take me out, of the game. But I could see that there's a lack of confidence. And I used to ask myself, how do you build this confidence? But I can see it's a hard thing when people are really struggling, they're going through a hard life, challenges, even if they didn't grow up poor, the parents leave them and they are not able to people's children. And just see parents also struggling to even focus at work. And some parents will call me crying, just with a child failing, you know, just a child going through that hard life, mental, and we're not the same. Some are stronger, some can go through that, some can't go through that. And I feel like this is a pain I wouldn't want others to go through. Though I went from to a different pain, I felt like this is a pain that close to my heart. If one can be capable, then they can be able to move forward in their life. And of course, later on, when I started hiring people, I realized that we are having a lot of incompetence. And it sounds like we are harsh when we expect people to actually perform. And we decided that we're going to have to build competent adults. And for me, it's my goal to building a competent adult. And of course, I want to write a book even on that, just breaking on that, building a competent adult. because then our world can be better. We can have crime reduced, you know. It's just pain to see men killing women. Some of them is just this frustration of this stuff, and they go through this, but they don't have competency to be able to grow and upskill themselves and be able to make life better for themselves and their loved ones. So there's a whole lot. There's a whole lot when it comes to that competency, and that's why we tackle it even adversity, because that guy with adversity that we put him, you got 100% in maths, and now they are battling. Now this is varsity. Now they're battling to actually pay some bills. They're battling even to just get a haircut. You know, just get a proper jacket or shoe. That's how you the journey to compete and adult, so that our country can be better and better state.
What amazing final words, Moseli. It's this episode has been such an amazing therapy for me just to hear you, my man.
Thank you.
To hear your story, to hear your vision, to hear your drive, to hear how someone who has gone through incredible pain is now making its mission to ensure that other people's pain through their children is your mission to really relieve them of that pain. I can't think of a better mission and
Mm.
vision for the African child, for the African
Yeah.
economy in general in different countries, to other than upskilling its children, upskilling the children to become more competent, and that for
Mm.
me is such an amazing mission that you have, my man. I just let you know that we are all inspired by
Mm.
you.
Thank you
We
so
we
much, leader.
we look at you. We say thank you so much. So thank you so much again for coming, Moseli. And there you have it, an incredible tech champion in Moseli Nkanyane, who has made it his mission to alleviate other people's pain, even though he has gone through so much. He has seen so many things. He has been driven in so many ways, and we are grateful for this past episode. Thank you so much for watching, for listening to this podcast. Thank you for all those who have given me so much feedback. Please subscribe in all the different platforms that we have through audio or for video. But this important conversation will carry on in the comments below. Let me know what you think. How else can we change the education in the different countries of this beautiful continent? I want to know from you. Let the comments flow. Thank you so much for watching. This is Molo Molo African Tech Stories, where we discover the fascinating stories of African tech champions that are shaping the future of the African continent. Thank you so much. This is Bolan Kantoe. Until next time, ciao.